Tynecastle today for after having given Celtic 2 goals of a start in the last league game and ending up winners. That's what oils the turnstiles, and a recipe for giving this crowd the audacious idea that Hearts may be on the beginning of a very significant role in both league and cup. So the crowd looks and sounds in very good health. These Hearts players are wearing black armbands today, by the way, out of respect for the little mascot who was here 3 weeks ago and who sadly has died of leukemia. Well, in the Hearts side, Anton Yemi and Gordon Petric haven't made it. Gilles Rousset recommences in goal. Stephen Adam is on the bench from the team that played against Clyde, and Wales and Jackson will operate up front. And in defence, there's Gary Naismith, who, thank heaven, being a natural-born Scot, is having an outstanding season. Well, Killie come from the remarkably invigorating performance at Motherwell with a Gaelic influence, not just adding flavour to the diet, but goals as well. Christophe Kokar will no doubt be wandering up front and spearheading the attack. Samasi Abou from France and West Ham. There he is, the man who terrorised Pearl Park on Tuesday night. And there's the referee, George Simpson. Well, there's an Oscar-nominated film out at the moment called Topsy Turvy, which might strike a tuneful chord for Bobby Williamson, who's seen his side perform in that manner in the last few games. Now, we saw them a couple of Saturdays ago against Motherwell and Scotsport, having so much of the ball they could have copyrighted it, but the goalpost could have been in Fenwick Moor for all the impact they made. Then on Tuesday at Fir Park, I saw them demolish Motherwell with as exciting an attacking performance as I've seen from anybody this season. They really seem to have rediscovered, and that man must be pleased about it, the way to go. Although having won here only 4 times in the last 24 years, they have a lot of history to make up. The pitch itself looking very heavy right in the middle. Jackson. There's Naismith, might be just a little bit hard. And the Hearts crowd immediately liking the enthusiastic start by the home side. Touched away by Gus McPherson. And Leclerc lets fly. There was a bit of a dip in that ball. Now, I have to confess, when he picked it up there, it didn't look all that dangerous. Indeed, when he hit the ball at first, it seemed to have too much altitude, but it dipped. See what I mean here? It goes up and then starts to come down the way, and the goalkeeper had adjudged. That expression sums it up. Simpson, good first touch. Tomaszek, walking, grafting hard in midfield. Flogo, that's a lovely ball to Cameron. Well, maybe Colin Cameron was just a little too clever by half that time. Plenty possession for Hearts at the moment. Oh dear, oh dear. Now, I've been praising Jim Laughlin. He really is a very resolute defender, to say the least. Well, they've got to commit themselves, and, you know, a good defender always lives on the edges like that. There's always that risk if he goes in first time. He's going to give away free kicks in vital positions. Meanwhile, the chorus line are assembled, ready for the free kick. Cameron, and again. Well, he's kept his head while all around him may have been panicking, because he realised his team were playing such very good football without anything in the penalty area. Well, Motherwell changed that. Jackson. Little accidental rough and tumble that time. Holt trying to go away with it. Now Durant getting pretty tough, and the referee will now stop the play. It was getting very rough and untidy. Watch the challenge there as Leclerc goes down. Abu and he are tangling, and I think he's claiming a hand or an elbow or an arm went into the face. Beautiful left-footed pass again by McKinley. It's going to turn out to be very useful for Kilmarnock. Wrong side of Kokar that time. Murray, right off balance. Kokar. Oh, well, that ball was going out of play in any case, and that was wholly unnecessary. And there really has to be an element of competition in the best of times, but I think it was the left foot that did the damage there. Well, there has been a lot of tackling from behind already in this game, with only about 17 minutes gone. Now McKinley. Abu going back into the box. That's a good position for him. Well, he laboured that one. Well, to be honest, I think he's perhaps as surprised as the Hearts management that he got all that latitude in the penalty area. Nobody near him when he brought that ball down. You could see as it hit him on a chest there was so much space. Oh, Marshall, and it's just past. Very quick thinking there by Darren Jackson, but I think he must have been surprised initially that Gordon Marshall made a right ricket of that. He had to go for it, and I think he knew as soon as he touched it that he was going to miss it. Nice play again by Jackson. That's a beautiful ball to, and that's a free kick, surely. Well, the Heart supporters around me think that. I think there was contact. And he goes just the slightest touch, I think. Well, I suppose you might have to bring out the microscope for it. He's not going to accept it. And as Tomaszek came forward, I think there was an awkward little bobble on the ball on this pitch. And apart from that, he seemed to dig into it. Look at that, 4 Hearts players round Abu there. Here's Wales. Oh, that's Laughlin again. Now he could be in trouble. He's already been booked, and I think, oh, for that, well, I'm sorry, but that's another yellow card. He's not going to get it, obviously. Now, you don't like to see players going off in a match, to be perfectly honest with you, but I think if he survives this, and it looks as if he will, he's a lucky man. Now, Laughlin is being substituted. And that may be a very wise move, a tactical maneuver, given the fact that he had been already booked as Bobby Williamson. He knows that bringing Sean Hesse on, the 21-year-old from Liverpool, is a bit of a risk at this stage. A long part of the game to go, but he had to take it. Holt. Durant. It's a better run by Holt. Does that very well, and Kokar almost got the touch. Ollie Mitchell's there, and I think Kilmarnock want more of that driving, thrusting performance by this man. He's been a little bit shyer than we've seen him in recent games. That was more like him. Into Abu. Better, and he tries to cull it round, and suddenly, having done nothing all afternoon except grump and groan, showing his skill. Look at that curled round. That wasn't far away. That was a great effort. half-time whistle. Well, I'm sure the talking point really is the decision by the Kilmarnock management to take off their central defender, Jim Loughlin. We saw, and indeed I praised him for, his sense of commitment on the edge of the box when he gave away the first free kick and his first booking. Defenders have to be tough, make up their minds very quickly. You can praise him for that. And a lot of them get booked. And then the second one, I think, was reckless. I think he was very fortunate not to get another yellow card and then be sent off. And as a result of that, thinking, why go down to 10 men, he was substituted. And that yet may be a significant feature of the second half with the half-time score. Nothing each. Well, I don't want to tempt Providence, and I suppose there's always a first time, but since the Premier Division started, there never has been a goalless draw at Tynecastle between these two clubs. So they've a lot to play up to. And certainly that last 20 minutes of the first half, unfortunately, we might be going for an historic first if this game doesn't improve, and I think it will. Certainly hope it will. Holt. McPherson with support, a little bit more thrust about, and that was a good tackle. Now Wales stepping in. Well, that's a good clearance by the young sub. John Hesse kept his eye on the ball. Young lad signed from Huddersfield last August. Cameron. Surrounded by blue and white though, and gets the corner. Simpson coming across to this side to take it. What a swing at it, Marshall! Did well in the second effort. Cameron trying to put it in. A real barricade of blue and white jerseys right across the penalty area though. Simpson doing well to hold on to it. A lot of curve, Wales, and Chobosek. Well, a big fella hasn't figured in a game all that much. Some neat, dainty footwork by him in the first half. And this is a much more positive element in his play, though way wide. Well, you know, Marshall kept his eye on the ball. He looked assured to start off with. And then suddenly, eye off the ball, little fluttery field there, and at least brave enough to go after it again and saving the jerseys. Jackson walking away on the left, a little bit neat. That's not a bad ball. There's an appeal for a penalty there as Wales went down. Mitchell with it. Here's Cameron. Hearts play still going on. Now Simpson tries the shot at goal. Werner, certainly the Hearts supporters behind that goal were incensed by that challenge. Well, watch the little 1-2 played here. I thought at first it was going to be too neat, but he does get the cross in, and there's the challenge there. Contact was well away from the ball, but of course that doesn't really matter. The referee decided no penalty. Go to Cameron, nobody behind him though. Abu, little bit of space for him. Well taken down now. Working hard to make it this. That's a better move. Cameron in a very good position. Looking for a turnaround, and again Marshall's behind it. Well, certainly Gary Wells went on the decoy run. See him cutting across the picture, allowing Cameron to make the shot. Long and high, and there's Marshall. That's better. That'll give him confidence. That's a long, deep ball there. Abu is going for it! And he almost got there. For the first time in the game, I thought Leclerc was wrong-footed. Looked a little bit unsure of himself as he went for that. Wales is offside. Well, now. The referee is here letting play go on. Well, the linesman, I can assure you, right underneath us, put his flag up as soon as Wales had made tracks here. The referee allowed play to go on. Meanwhile, the linesman kept his flag up, and that was a superb tackle at the end. Now Kilmarnock on the counter-attack. It's away to Abu. Let's see how he can come in from this position here. A little shuffle, and he tries to chip the goalkeeper. That's a brilliant move by Abu. Superbly defended by Flugel as Colcard went in, and the game thankfully comes alive again. Now, Cameron giving it away. This is a better spell by Kilmarnock. Great play by Abu then. It shows you what a big man can do. And he gets a little bit of freedom. Yes, that's a free kick. Touch there to Jackson. Colin Cameron coming through on it. Suddenly the game has come alive. Simpson with it. There's a little touch. Plenty of Hearts players there, all right. Presley. They get the corner kick. Perhaps they should have had more out of a situation like that. Jackson again with it, floating it out this time, and there's Presley trying to go on it. Well, Presley really has been up planting himself in the box in the last couple of minutes. He had that initial chance, and there he tried to swing round, but it needed a great deal more nippiness than that. That's available to Mitchell. Now to McKinley. That's a useful ball. Holt is there. Abu is almost in. Now Ian Durant. McPherson on the outside. There is McPherson, who settles for the corner kick. Kilmarnock supporters just up behind that goal, getting a little bit to cheer about, although there hasn't been much for them today. What a swing at it, and Abu tried to get the final touch. It certainly did come off Colcard to him, but again a very congested penalty area, making it difficult for him to pick it up cleanly. Flugel. Inside well to Cameron. That's great play by Cameron. Oh dear, he couldn't keep his composure. He did absolutely everything right until, strangely enough, he got that freedom and then he blew it. Nursing his wrath to keep it warm. Here's Holt. Oh, almost got it in. That was a good effort by Holt. I thought it was virtually impossible for him to pop that ball into the penalty area, but the big fellow did it. Into the last 12 minutes of the game. Outswing at this time. Abu did get the header. Leclerc on the line. But again, he should have been much more closely marked. The header didn't have any great pace to it, which did give Leclerc the opportunity to stoop down. Pace of Wales, he did very well, the youngster. Jackson swings it in towards Cameron. You could see he really was loitering with intent there. You can see him just measuring it up and then combining in. Leclerc now, Cameron. McSwagan. Leclerc couldn't get it. He was coming up for it. Now Mitchell, that's a bad piece of play by Mitchell. His legs seem to have gone out as the final whistle goes. No scoring. You can hear in the background something of the crowd's judgment on the game we've just seen. Not much in it. The goalkeepers, by and large, had a very easy afternoon of it, but the big man there did cause Hearts trouble from time to time. First of all, we saw how his ability to see space and make opportunities for others almost brought about the goal by Kokar as he came in. And then the header that he got that was cleared off the line by Leclerc. And at the other end, Colin Cameron, who I thought played splendidly in the game, carving an opening for himself. But the way he finished seemed to summarise the whole afternoon. Final score, did I say, nothing each.
Yeah, we played that bad the first half, you know, and it was about time we showed something. And the second half we started to push forward. Created a few chances, but a wee bit unfortunate today in front of goal. Tuesday night was nice. We scored 4 goals on Tuesday night, and then we're looking to carry it on to today, but it didn't work out that way.
Well, we didn't hear from Bobby Williamson there. He's with me here in the Scott Sports studio this afternoon. General consensus seems to be that 0-0 was a fair result on the day, Bobby.
Yeah, I've got to agree with the 3 guys that were on camera there. It certainly was a 0-0 all over it. I think Archie gave it a kiss of death at half-time. They were saying there hasn't been a 0-0 between the teams at Tynecastle. And that's another record we've broken this year.
But you had a good victory midweek over Motherwell. Another away point today, 4 points out of 6, 2 away games, relatively happy?
Yeah, we've got to be happy with the points we've picked up, but in fact draws are actually killing us. If you look at the many draws, I think that's 10 now, and we would have been happy to lose 5 and win 5 and actually draw the 10 of them. But as I say, the draws are killing us, but we've just got to go that step further and turn draws into wins now.
Interesting point in that game yesterday when you substituted Jim Loughlin. I think we can all understand why. He'd had a yellow card.
Yeah.
He'd just escaped getting a second one, and obviously his next tackle he was going off.
That's right. You see that tackle there. I don't think that was too bad. The big man's trying to get to the ball, and unfortunately Darren's just nipped in ahead of him and took it. And Darren's seen the tackle coming in, and he's lifted himself, and I think he's fell awkwardly. The referee's right on top of it, and he's decided that's a booking, which I think a good talking to would have done at that stage of the match, as it was only his first tackle. And then anyway, any time after that, any time Jim Loughlin was involved in an incident, the Hearts fans were certainly making their feelings known. And I felt it was only a matter of time that he would get caught in a situation like he get caught in here.
He gets caught here, you'd have to say it's maybe a booking.
Certainly, we feel lucky to get away with that. He could have been sent off for that. But as I said, it's not always the case that if you pick up a booking that the next tackle you make or the next foul you give away, you should be sent off. As I said, he was under pressure after that earlier tackle.
So, do you think defenders should be given more leeway when it comes to these kind of things?
Yeah, I think so. You seen later on in that game, just not long after that incident, one of their lads came in the back of Kokar right in the touchline, and the referee didn't seem to think that was a bookable offence yet. It was similar to what Jim got booked for.
Yeah, he didn't award any penalties either yesterday. Hearts had 2 penalty claims. I think so. Let's have a look at the first one, which is Colin Cameron going through. Now, I don't really think there's much contact here at all.
Oh yeah, you give penalties for tackles outside boxing now, I think. Is that the rule?
Well, he's gone for the penalty.
Well, I asked Tosh afterwards and I said, did you catch him? And he says, well, I didn't think I did. And then when he says that, you think, well, maybe he has done, but as I said, there's not a lot in it. I think Colin's actually overrun the ball and Marsh was gathering it anyway.
And the second one there with Gary Wills.
That's for that one. You see a fair better angle this time, and Dindaloo doesn't look anywhere near him. He looks about a yard between them as you see the ball coming over. It's very difficult to judge that, and the referee couldn't make a decision, obviously.
We can work out the fact that there was no goals in yesterday's game, but were you happy with the actual football you played? No, I was disappointed with the performance, and I stated that to the players, especially first half performance. I felt Hearts were up for it, and they got right at us and made sure we didn't settle down to any sort of rhythm. And they shaded it in the early part of the game. I felt their defenders never gave their strikers a look in. They went man for man on Abu, and he never really showed his true worth yesterday because he had a very difficult task and his hands shaking off the fella. But no, I certainly thought Hearts had the better exchanges early on in the game. And I felt in the latter part of the second half we started to come back into it, but I've got to agree with everybody concerned that the draw was probably the right result. Let's have a look at Samasi Abu, or Abu Samasi. We're not quite sure what his name is, but
he's not quite sure.
You said that the guy was on him all the time, but he's shown some nice touches yesterday.
Yeah, the boy getting a tackle on again, and he's managed to get away from him this occasion, and he's just unlucky he's not had a target there.
What is the situation with him, Bobby? You've got him on a 3-month loan, yeah?
Yeah, Harry Redknapp's done us a great turn. He's allowed him to come up here for 3 months, and he's out of contract in the summer anyway, so it's up to us to look at him and see if he's worthwhile acquiring for longer. And it's up to the lad to put his on the shop window and see if any other clubs may be interested in him. But he's certainly got ability, he's got pace and he's strong. And hopefully he knows where the back of the net is, although he's not scored yet.
He's not scored yet, but he set one up the other night, didn't he?
He did. He had a terrific shot that cannoned off the post, and thankfully it fell to Christoph Kokar, who managed to control it and score. But he has got attributes that I feel we've not got in the team at this moment in time, and I think it could be a good acquisition for us.
You think there's a lot better to come from him, Bo?
I think so. Once he gets his match fitness up, I think he'll be a handful for most defenders in this league. He's certainly different, and he's got a few tricks in his locker as well. Very fast feet for quite a big lad, actually.
And from speaking to him, Bobby, do you feel like he fancies playing in Scotland? I mean, he's here for 3 months, but do you feel like he fancies staying longer?
Yeah, I think he does. I think Hibs and Hearts were interested in him at one time. They came up and actually spoke to them, but nothing actually came to fruition on those occasions. But I spoke to him when he came up, and he seems quite happy to be settled in Scotland and get settled in Scotland. So hopefully he settles in well.
And despite that bottom of the table look that you have at the moment, no panic?
No, we can't panic. 3 wins and we're up there beside St Johnstone, and that's what we've got to try and do. We've got to put our run of games together. We start picking up victories. We've not managed to do it so far this season, but I'm sure we can start doing it now. OK, Bobby, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. Time now for a quick break, but still to come this afternoon, highlights of Aberdeen against Hibernian and St Johnstone versus Dundee United. Stay with us. Of yesterday's results in the Bank of Scotland Scottish Premier Division: Hearts 0, Kilmarnock 0, St Johnstone 2, Dundee United 0, and Aberdeen 4, Hibernian 0. And this is exactly how the table looks this evening. Rangers in action at Dens later. We'll talk about that in a moment, but they have an 8-point cushion over Celtic, and maybe a point worth making here, especially as Bobby Williamson is with us in the studio. Just 9 points covering the bottom 6 teams in that table. Yeah, a couple of results changes the whole picture really. I was looking at the table last week. I thought St Johnstone were well in their grasp. They've got a couple of results back to back, and they've climbed up the table in 5th position now. But as I said, there's not a lot separating most of the clubs. And Aberdeen, despite that disastrous start, as you say, a couple of results and off they go. 2 great results up at Dens and then at home at Hibs. Scored 7 goals and they only conceded 1, so they'll be delighted with that. As I said, people are saying, "Oh, Aberdeen have got a result." So what? We can't do anything about Aberdeen until we play them. And as I said, we've got to keep on trying to pick up points in every game we've got to between now and the end of the season, and I'm sure we can do that. Well, what about Aberdeen? Because Errol Stavram's found his scoring touch. He had a couple yesterday, and he nearly scored a hat-trick as well. Yeah, he's a big hard-working lad. He puts himself about and he leads the line very, very well. And he's finished this goal terrifically well. He's found himself a bit of space and he's kept it down and guided into the goal. So he'll be delighted with his performances of late. And Andy Dow, the workhorse again there. Andy Dow's done tremendously well since he's been pushed forward. He was a capable left back, but he seems to be playing a lot better since he's pushed on into a more creative area. And I know that the Aberdeen supporters will be looking forward to young Zeru Ali's return. He's become a bit of a hero up there. Yeah, there was a great atmosphere at the semi-final. I was up there watching them playing Dundee United, and Aberdeen support get right behind them. And the wee man's a crowd pleaser, and they love him up there. Aberdeen have got this, as you mentioned, at the CIS Insurance Cup final to look forward to. Now, a lot of people belittle that tournament, but Aberdeen and Celtic now means so much to them. Yeah, it's disappointing it is belittled in that manner, because if we talk the game up more people turn out to watch it. And it was disappointing, our crowd against Celtic, albeit it was live on TV. But it's a tournament and everybody's in it, and we all want to win it. Aberdeen have got a chance of snatching a bit of silverware off Celtic, and they'll be giving it their best shot, and it's something for all the players to aim for now. They've got to play well week in, week out to get in that final squad. Absolutely. Well, one more Bank of Scotland Premier League game still to come this weekend. That's tonight's match at Dens between Dundee and Rangers. Highlights later on Scotsport Plus. Remember, that's at 10:45. Bobby, Dundee, I think they have a similar problem to yourself in terms of their home record. You know all about that. Yeah, it's very difficult at home nowadays when teams come and sit in. They know that they can get the fans frustrated if they can keep things tight for 20 minutes or even less than that. We found that the other night at Motherwell even, Billy Davis was getting a bit of stick, and they're sitting 3rd in the table. But it is very frustrating for everybody concerned, even the players, because mixed from the crowd, and they get nervous, and if they make a bad pass, a couple of boos come into it. Maybe players go into their shell and don't want to try these things, but they've got to be encouraged to go out and play and try and get enjoyment back into football, and it's got to come from the fans, I'm afraid. They've got to come and be relaxed, let the managers and the players worry about the situations that their team are in, and just back the players. I wouldn't have thought Rangers would go and sit in at Dens Park. No, I couldn't say that. Rangers can't go and sit in anywhere. They've got to go out and make a game of it. They've got a big crowd behind them and big demands upon them, and they'll go and they'll try and get the 3 points. And a chance for Rangers to stretch that gap over Celtic tonight. Well, that's what they'll be looking to do. They've got that breathing space just now with the 8-point gap, and plus Celtic aren't playing this weekend, so they've really got to go and compete tonight and get the 3 points and stretch it. St Johnstone and Hibs have both had a go at Rangers recently and come away with points. Yeah, I think we can all have a go at Rangers and Celtic nowadays and hopefully get something out of it, but it's extremely difficult. Celtic and Rangers obviously get the class players, but we've got a lot of guys in Scotland who can compete against them on a one-off basis and hopefully get results against them.
And obviously Jockey's looking for a victory tonight, but if you were him, would you settle for a point against Rangers tonight?
You need to wait and see how the game goes actually, and afterwards you can say whether it's a good point or a bad point, but they might get a point and they might feel hard done by, they might have had the 3, so it's hard to say at this moment in time.
Okay, Bobby, thanks very much. It's been a busy programme. That's it from Scott Sport for the moment. Thanks very much to Bobby Williamson for coming in this afternoon.